सदाशिवसमारम्भां
सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
शङ्कराचार्यपर्यन्तां
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्
ॐ
ॐ सहना
सहनवतु सहनौ
भवतु सहनौ
सह
भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावस्तु मा
वावहै
विद्विषावहै
ॐ
शान्ति शान्ति
शान्ति
शान्तिः
हरिः ओम्.
हरि ओम्.
Okay, so as we had discussed, today we'll start a new Upanishad, which is Mandukya Upanishad. Okay, so briefly speaking, again, just to repeat what all we have already studied in very our original scriptures are the Veda, also called Shrutihi. So Veda literally means Vidyate Janayate iti Veda. Anena iti Veda. That which is a source of knowledge. That is it is
Sorry, sir. There's a lot of background noise coming in.
I will just mute everybody. Okay. Fine. Is it better now? Okay. So the Vedas are considered to be apaurishaya, not of human origin. So we never say that they were written by anybody. And the entire teaching is Karna Parampara, only through hearing. Now we have discussed that Veda Purva has three topics. One is the three types of sadhyams, the three types of sadhanas, and the three types of doshas, right? Defects. What are the three types of sadhyams? Sadhyas, the objectives, the goals. One is the improvement of your body, your sense organs, your mind, anatma improvement. Another is improvement of the possessions which you have. And the third is improvement of the environment in which you live. So that is remember that is the objective of Veda Purva. Right? And for these there are three types of disciplines. The Kayika Sadhanani, that is all the physical disciplines which you do, which can also be exercises, yoga, asanas, anything, rituals also. Then the verbal disciplines, Vachika Sadhanani, in terms of prayer, japa, parayanam. And the mental discipline, Manasika Sadhana, in terms of meditation. So these are the sadhana trayam. Then we also see in that there are dosha trayam, three defects. What are they? Dukkha mishritatvam, that any joy you get is always mixed with pain. Any joy you get out of anatma interaction is always mixed with pain. Of course, you'll get joy, but there is the pain of acquisition, preservation, and loss. So it is dukkha mishritatvam, right? Then atriptikaratvam is there, that no anatma can give you total satisfaction, because there will always be better ones. You achieve something, there will be a better one to achieve. So there is never any complete satisfaction. And the third one is bandhakatvam. All anatma goals lead to dependence. So they never lead to your freedom, because you will be more and more dependent upon the anatma. So these are the three intrinsic defects, the doshatrayam. Therefore, sadhanatrayam, sadhyatrayam, and doshatrayam. These are the topics which Veda Purva deals with. So if you are an intelligent person, after some time, maybe 20 years, 30 years, you will figure out that there is no way around these three defects. So then therefore, what is there which is a defect-free goal that you will want to see? Right? Most people are quite happy with these defective goals, but there are some people who are not. Such a person is looking for Brahman. So to such a seeker, Vedanta will say that you do not need to seek Brahman, because Tattvamasi, you are that Brahman. Right? So until we came to Vedanta, we used to think that we were all defect-riddled jivas. Now suddenly Vedanta tells you that no, 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 you are not a jiva at all. You are Paramatma, right? And therefore you have to make a self-inquiry. So once you come to self-inquiry, then we have seen various things like there are six means of knowledge, which are what? Pratyaksham, Anumanam, Upamanam, Arthapatti, Anupalabdhi and Vedaha. These we have seen, right? Now, how do you employ this Vedanta Pramanam? You cannot read it yourself. Therefore, you have to go to a teacher. And while in listening to the teacher, you first come to Shravanam, then you come to Mananam, then you come to Nididhyasanam. So, Shravanam is a systematic analysis of the Shruti, of Veda. What is the purpose of the analysis? To arrive at the central teaching, the Tatparya. And for this, we have seen that there are six lingams. Upakramo upasamharau, abhyaso apurvata phalam, arthavada upapattihi cha lingam tatparya nirnayate. These are six indications, six lingani, the six tools for you to extract the tatparya. So upakramaha, upasamharaha, abhyasaha, apurvata phalam, arthavadaha, and upapatti. So I'm not going into the definitions of all this because we have done it many, many times. Okay. Now, once I have Shravanam, proper Shravanam, then what does it tell you? That you are Brahman, right? Then there is a problem because yatho vacho nivartante aprapsya manasa saha. Taittiriya Upanishad. It says that this words cannot reveal Brahman. So then where is the question of studying Vedanta? It is only words. And moreover, we say that words can reveal only object. And Brahman is certainly not an object. So there are five conditions for the analysis of words, right? And these five conditions I am mentioning because they allow us to appreciate how much analysis has been done by our Rishi Munis into this matter. So there is something called Rudihi. Rudihi means something which is available for direct perception. So if an object is available for your direct perception, then you get knowledge about it, right? So the words can communicate. Suppose you have seen some new object, let us say a glass, which you have never seen in your life, and somebody tells you this object is a glass. Then there is that relationship is built, that this word glass reveals this object. So therefore you can communicate with somebody about the glass because you have seen the object before. He has also seen the object before. And when you say glass, even if the glass is not in front of you, he will recall that object. So that is one function of the word, right? Words can reveal something. Then there is species. So if somebody says there is a tree, you understand the word tree because it's a species. Even you may not have seen that particular tree, but let us say it's a type of tree which is not there in India. You have not seen it. But somebody tells you it's a tree, you know what he is talking about. Because even though you don't know the specific tree, you know that it falls under species called tree, right? So words which relate to jatihi or species, they also can communicate. Then gunas, attributes. An object can be understood through its attributes. Even though you don't know the object, when you think about its properties, you can understand. Like somebody tells you, bring a blue pen, right? So that blue attribute, you understand that out of all the pens in my house, the one which writes in blue ink, that is what is required. So that word, attribute blue, adjective blue, has revealed the meaning. Then there is Kriya, the actions, right? Supposing you want to call the person who cooks in your house, who you're looking for a new cook, let us say, right? What message will you send? I want to engage a cook, right? That word cook reveals the function of a person. Is the cooking is there. Then the last one is relationships, sambandha. When you say this person is my mother, or my father, or my wife, or my husband, that unknown object person is revealed through the sambandha, the relationships. Right? Therefore, these five are those conditions under which words can convey meaning. However, if you think of it, Brahman cannot be fitted into any of these categories. And therefore, it is said that even the words can reveal objects. How can words reveal Brahman? Because none of these criteria for the Shabda Pravritti Nimitta, it says. This is the criteria for words to reveal objects. But Brahman is not a part of any of those criteria. How can words reveal objects? So the Upanishads managed to do that by a special method. And that is why Shastra says that you need a person who knows how to handle the words of the Upanishad. Because the Upanishad words don't function in the normal way. They function in different techniques, and therefore different techniques are being used by various Upanishads to reveal Brahman. For example, Upanishad can reveal Brahman by using mithya attributes. Why do you say mithya attributes? Because Brahman doesn't have attributes at all. So any attribute has to be a adhyasa, a superimposition upon Brahman. But you can use that attribute to reveal Brahman. For example, to take a real world example, you say the sky is blue. Now, really speaking, there is no blueness in the sky, right? It's only because of tricks played by the atmosphere. When you see the sun is setting or rising, again the sun doesn't set or rise. It's only a superimposition, a word which we use because there is no real setting or rising in the sun. Therefore, these mithya attributes can reveal objects. Similarly, mithya attributes can reveal Brahman also. In the case of Brahman, for example, or Atma, we say, we use the word Sakshi, right? The witness attribute. But really speaking, Brahman is attributeless, nirguna. You cannot say Brahman or Atma is a witness. So that is only from the standpoint of the Vyavaharika Satyam, the Mithya Prapancha, that we say Brahman is a witness or Atma is a witness. Because from the Paramathika level, Brahman doesn't even have that kind of a attribute. So all this is from the point of view of Vyavaharika. We are superimposing attribute and using that attribute to reveal. So that is the first method. The second method is a technical method which we have seen, Tathastha Lakshanam. We use a temporary or an incidental attribute to reveal an object. The general example given in Shastram is that you're looking at very, very similar houses. You come to see me and there's a row of very similar houses. So you phone me and say, in which house, which is your house, right? So I say, you're standing there looking outside. There's my house is a red car parked outside. So you see the red car and you come to the house. Now remember, the red car is not an intrinsic attribute of the house because tomorrow morning it need not be there. But you have used a superficial temporary attribute to understand the house, right? But you know that that red car may not be there next time. So when you come next time, you already know where the house is. So you will not look for the red car. Similarly, consciousness, the Atma, there is no way of revealing it directly. But because Atma is associated with Anatma, with the body, you use the body and then you say that consciousness is that which is not a part, product, or property of the body. All those five definitions, what do we use? We use the body. Body is a temporary attribute because body is associated only temporarily with consciousness. Why? Because the body will die after some time. Thus, you are using an incidental attribute to reveal Brahman. That is second method. That's called Tathastaha. Then there is the very absence of attributes can be used to reveal an object. Right? For example, you have five glasses on the table. There's tea and coffee in four glasses, and one is an empty glass. So emptiness is not a positive attribute of the glass, but reveals the absence of anything in the glass. Therefore, even though absence is not an attribute, it's a negative attribute, but the negative attribute is capable of revealing that glass. Right? For example, if you have a whole class of 30, 40 people sitting in front of you, and there's only one person not wearing spectacles, then you can refer to him by saying that the person who is not wearing spectacles. It's a negative attribute, right? Similarly, you can use baldness as a negative attribute. Therefore, absence of a guna can be used for revealing. And when we say Anantam Brahma to reveal Brahman, what is Anantam? What is the literal meaning of Anantam?
Unlimited.
Unlimited. So, put in other words, absence of limitation. So, the
Yes.
limitation is an attribute. But when you say Anantam, you are using a negative attribute, absence of limitation. So, the absence of limitation becomes the attribute, which is why we say Nirgunam, Nishkalam, Nirakaram when we talk about Brahman. This is the third method. And the fourth method, without talking about Brahman, you talk about something else. Right? For example, let us say that you have two friends. Right? One friend is very smart, the other friend is not. So if you have to convey, what do you say? This is the smarter one among my friends. You have not talked about other person. But indirectly, what have you said? Other person is not a smart person. So this is called Maunam Vakyanam. You talk, you communicate without actually having spoken about that person. Right? A lot of people think that Maunam Vakyanam means not speaking at all. That's not correct. It is indirectly communicating. Okay. For example, another example of that. You and your neighbor are standing outside your house, right? So you are getting into the car, and the neighbor says, "Which way are you going?" So he's a close friend, so he says, "I will drop you wherever you want to go to." What has the neighbor actually asked you? Which way are you going? Were the words. What was the meaning of that sentence? Did he want to know where you're going? Or what was he really asking you?
He wanted to know if he could drop you in that direction, whichever.
No, he wanted to say, "Can you drop me where I'm going?"
He wants.
So the words have meant something completely different from what is the literal meaning. So these are the sort of very many uh, ways in which Vedanta functions, and we should be familiar with all these type of uh, techniques. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult for us to understand Vedanta properly. And especially Mandukya Upanishad is an Upanishad which has a lot of very obtruse very, very difficult ways of presentation. So we have to understand. And therefore, when we talk about this, you will find that we're going to talk in very, very great detail. Okay. So let us proceed to the some little background of the Upanishad. This is a very small Upanishad, and there is a gentleman called Gaudapadacharya, right? Gaudapadacharya is not a historical or mythological figure. He is a historical figure. And Gaudapadacharya is a very, very important Acharya in our tradition because he is the Acharya of Shankaracharya, right? So Gaudapada, Shankara is our Guru and Gaudapada is our Param Guru. So Gaudapada has written a commentary on this particular Upanishad. It's called the Gaudapada Karika. It's a very, very important commentary. Now, there used to be an earlier name for northern Bengal called Gauda Desha. So it is said that Gaudapada belongs to northern Bengal. His original name nobody knows, right? Sannyasis don't use that name, so nobody really knows that name. And therefore, the word Gauda is used, and Padaha literally means the person who is honored by us, or the revered Guru. Therefore, Gaudapada means the very honorable Guru from Gauda Desha. And one of his most important works is Mandukya Karika. Karika basically means it's a commentary, it's a bhashyam, but the bhashyam is in metric form, it is a verse form. And Gaudapadacharya has written 215 verses on this particular Upanishad, on the Mandukya Upanishad. And the Upanishad by itself is very small and will not convey much. Therefore, these karikas are very important for us to understand what these verses actually mean, right? Now, Shankaracharya himself, if you look at the original texts, have written a commentary, that he written a bhashyam, not only upon the Upanishad, but he has written a bhashyam on the karikas also, right? And Anandagiri, who was a disciple of Shankaracharya, has written a sub-commentary on Shankaracharya's commentary. Therefore, generally, when we study this Upanishad, we study the Upanishad and the Karika together. The Upanishad is very, very small, 12 mantras. The Karikas, 215 Karikas. So the total study is going to be 227 verses, 215 plus 12. These 227 verses are divided into 4 chapters. So each chapter is a adhyaya. It's called a prakaranam. The word used here is not adhyaya, it's called a prakaranam. So prakaranam in this context means a chapter, right? And there are 4 chapters. They are called Agama Prakaranam, Vaitatya Prakaranam, Advaita Prakaranam, and Alata Shanti Prakaranam. These 4 put together contain both the Upanishad mantras as well as the Karikas. The first chapter is called Agama Prakaranam. It consists of the entire Upanishad, all the 12 verses, plus 29 Karikas. So there are 41 verses in all. And therefore, since the Upanishad itself is exhausted in the first chapter, the other 3 chapters don't contain mantras. They will have only Karikas. Right? So in the first chapter, the mantras have predominance. In the subsequent 3 chapters, the Karikas have predominance. Okay. In the Upanishads are also known as Agamaha. Agama means Veda, that which comes from the Lord himself, right? So Agama means Veda, and in this context, therefore, The Upanishad part of the four chapters is called Agama Prakaranam because the mantras are contained. The entire Upanishad is contained in the first chapter. Therefore, Agama Prakaranam. Now, this Upanishad belongs to Atharvana Veda. And we have studied at least two Upanishads, both belonging to Atharvana Veda. What are they?
Mundaka.
Mundaka and Prashna.
Prashna we have not studied.
Okay.
Mundak Prashna is Atharvana Veda, yes. But we have studied another one. We just completed only.
Kaivalya.
Kaivalya.
So Mundaka Kaivalya also Atharvana Veda, or you can call it Atharva Veda. Therefore, the Shanti Patha we have seen. What is Shanti Patha?
Bhadram Karnevi.
Bhadram Karnebi. So let us chant the Shanti Patha. Please unmute yourself. We will chant the Shanti Patha. Om
Om
Deva
भद्रकरणिभिः शृणुयाम देवा
Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhiryajatra
भद्रं
पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः
Tirangai Stuštavagam Sastunubhi
स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवांस्तनूभिः
Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu
यशेम देवहितं
यदायुः
Swastina Indro Vruddhashravah
स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः
Swastina Pusha Vishwavedah
स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः
Stinastakshyo Arishthanemihi
स्वस्ति नस्ताक्षोऽरिष्टनेमिः
Swastino Brahaspatir Dadhatu
स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
ॐ
शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
So, to put it very briefly, I'm not going to explain this because we have done it twice already. But there are three things asked for in this in this Shantipada: long life, good health, and freedom from obstacles. Ayuhu, Arogyam, and Vigna Nivrittihi. This is the purpose of this particular Shantipada. Individually, if you want to see the actual words, you have to go back to Mundaka and Kaivalya where we explain in detail. Okay. Now, to talk about the first chapter reveals Advaitam. But there is no negation of Dvaitam in the first chapter. And therefore, in the second chapter, Anatma is negated through logic, through Yukti Pramanam. Then in the third chapter also, the third chapter basically deals with possible objections. So the argument there is that if Dvaitam is Mithya, then Advaitam is also Mithya. And there in the third chapter, Gaudapada establishes that Advaitam is Satyam. So whenever we talk about Mithya, we should know that Mithya is that which cannot exist without a Satyam as substratum, without a Satyam as Adhishthanam. And therefore, in every Mithya object, the Adhishthanam is pervading that object. And therefore, the Adhishthanam is Advaitam only. And therefore, third chapter establishes Advaitam through Yukti Pramanam. Okay. First chapter establishes Advaitam, but through Shruti Pramanam. So there is a difference. First chapter establishes Advaitam without negating Dvaitam through Shruti Pramanam. Third chapter establishes Advaitam through logic only. And the fourth chapter is a chapter which is refuting the views of non-Vedantic schools of thought. So it's a very important chapter because it helps us to understand what are the wrong ideas that other darshanas have. So there Sankhya is taken up, Nyaya Vaisheshika is taken up, Buddhism is taken up. Also that fourth chapter is more or less Maranam, an integral part of Jnana Yoga. Okay. Now Shankara gives an introduction to chapter 1. So I will not go into the Sanskrit of it. So he says, if someone asks how you can use Omkara as a tool for understanding Atma, he says there are several Shruti Vakyams to that effect, that Omkara is nothing but Atma. I will give you a brief first word. You should know it. Om Itya Tat. Where does it come from? Kathopanishad. Etad Alambanam. Kathopanishad. Then there is a Prashna Upanishad thing which we have not seen. Etad vai satyakama param chaparam cha brahma yadomkaraha. That is Prashna Upanishad we have not seen. And there is a Om Ityatmanam Yunjita. So that is again something which you have not seen. It is a Mahanarayana Upanishad. So that means with the help of Omkara, may you fix your mind on Atma. Then Om iti Brahma, you have seen. Where is that?
Taitriya.
Taitriya. Kara evam idam sarvam. Where have you seen? The Omkara Upasana.
Chandogya.
Andogya. Omkara Upasana. Right? So having given this brief idea about the first chapter, Shankara says he stopped talking about the first mantra. He says the entire universe, beginning with Hiranyagarbha, is mithya, like the rope snake. Right? Rope snake is mithya. He says the entire universe is like the rope snake. And then why should you study Omkara? He says to understand that something is mithya, do you study the mithya object or do you study the substratum? If you want to understand that bangle is mithya, what do you require to study?
Gold.
The gold. So, to understand that any object is mithya, remember the inquiry is into the substratum of the object, not into that mithya object. Right? So, if you want to know that the snake is mithya, your inquiry should be on the rope. And then when you know that this is a rope, then only you find that there is really no snake, which is mithya. So he says this Omkara is the substratum. He uses a nice word. Vak prapanchaha. What is Vak prapanchaha?
Word. A prapancha of words. Words.
The world of the universe of words. Okay. Now Vak prapanchaha reveals what?
Objects.
Objects, right? The pada reveals padartha. Therefore he says Vak prapanchaha, reveals artha prapanchaha. Artha prapancha means the world of objects. So you have to take Omkara as Chit and Atma as Sat. Why? Because of the context of the words and because of Jagat. The Atma and Omkara are not separate because the essential nature of Omkara is the same as Atma. That is what he says. Now we have to understand why. Can you say that Omkara is the essence of the Shabda Prapancha?
Yes.
What is the logic?
Because it is the origin.
Not like that. When you are a baby, what is the first word you say? Uh.
Oh.
When you close your mouth, what is the word which comes out?
Ma.
Ma. Therefore, it is said that the akara is the first word. In the universe of words, akara is the first, makara. Makara means the form of M. Kara here is the form. So, form of akara is the first word. Makara is the last word. And ukara represents all the other words in between. Therefore, omkara is the substance, the essence behind the entire universe of words, which is the entire universe of Shabda Prapancha. Right? Now, the problem is that he said that the Vak Prapancha, the universe of words, it reveals the Artha Prapancha, the universe of objects. But you cannot say that Omkara is the form of all objects, right? But here, mantra says Om is everything. And if Om is everything, in that everything, Artha Prapancha is also included, right? What is the logic? You have to remember Chandogya. Vacharammanam vikaro namadheyam. What does it mean? Now you know
It's
why we
only
did
the, it's
Chand-
only the words which come on your tongue, which
Yes, it is the only, if anything at all that exists, that existence is there only as the words on your tongue. So every karyam, every product, its real existence is only as a word. And therefore the word is that which really exists. The word is the substance. All the Panchabhutani are only words. And those words, the essence is Omkara. Any object you take can be reduced to a word. And that word is existing in your tongue. And the essence of the word is what? Any word will fall between and ma. Any word is included in Omkara. Therefore, Omkara is the essence of the words. The Artha Prapancha, Jagat also is in the form of words only. And therefore he says Omkara is both the word, the universe of words and the universe of objects. Omkara is both Shabda Prapanchaha and Artha Prapanchaha. Okay. Shankara in his commentary gives an example from the not even the Upanishad. It's Aitreya Aranyakam. So I'll not go into that. But the example is that a farmer is taking his cows to graze, right? And there is a rope, and there are two types of ropes. One is the rope tied to the neck of each individual cow, right? I don't know if you have seen farmers in the old days, okay? Each one is a rope which is tied to the neck of each individual cow. But the farmer doesn't hold all the ropes in his hand. What does it do?
a single rope which connects all these.
There is a single rope which connects all the individual ropes. And therefore, the farmer is handling the cows with the help of two ropes. One is the individual rope and one is the connecting rope. So, what is the example here? When we transact with the world, there are many people, many cows is the comparison. There are many people. Your tongue, the vak, is the common rope, right? So in this, for example, when I'm talking to you, I'm using words as the common rope. But when I discuss individual topics, I use specific words. So specific rope. Right? So there's a common rope, specific rope. Common words, specific ropes. So he says the words are the general rope, but the nama, the names, they are the specific ropes. And everything is connected in this world to these words only. Everything is connected to words only. And this, he says, is stated by Shruti also. So this is the introduction. So very, very beautiful introduction saying why is it that we are inquiring to Omkara when really speaking you want to inquire into the world. With this, we will go into the first mantra. Please unmute yourself. We will chant. This is mantra number 1. Mityetaksharamidam sarvam.
ओमित्येतदक्षरमिदम्
Omityetaksharamidam sarvam.
ओमित्येतदक्षरमिदं सर्वम्
Tasya Tasyopavyakyanam bhutam.
तस्योपव्याख्यानं भूतम्
Bhavad bhavishyad iti.
भवद्भविष्यदिति
Sarvam omkara eva.
सर्वमोङ्कार एव
Yacchanyat
यच्चान्यत्रिकातीतं
Tadapyomkarameva.
तदप्योङ्कार एव
Om ittetad idam sarvam. Right? Omkara idam sarvam. Om ittetad aksharam. The word Om is idam sarvam, is everything here. Not only that, it is also bhutam, bhavat, bhavishya iti sarvam omkar eva. The past, the present and the future is also omkara. Then yacha anyat trikala atitam, that which is beyond the 3 frames of time. Yat cha trikala anyat atit, that which is not in the free time, in 3 frames of time. Tadapi omkara eva, that is also omkara. So what is not in the bondage of time?
Brahman.
Brahman. Brahman.
Only Brahman?
Maya.
Maya.
And
Maya also.
Maya also, and therefore
Mhm.
therefore the mixture also, right?
Brahman.
Therefore Ishvara also. Therefore are 3 things which are not in the bondage of time, that is Maya, Brahman, Ishvara. He says this is also Omkar. So you can see that it's not a mantra, it's a mantra, but it is not in metric form. So here you are finding out that this is an Upanishad where mantra is in prose form, but the karikas are in verse form. Right? So in this first chapter, as I said, the Upanishad, 12 mantras and the karikas are mixed. So you'll find that the first 6 are Upanishad mantras. Then there is followed by 9 karikas. Then the 7th mantra followed by 9 karikas. Then there are 4 mantras followed by 5 karikas. Then there is a 12th mantra followed by 6 karikas. So the first 2 mantras are the introductory mantras in which Upanishad talks about 2 types of investigation or inquiry. So the first mantra talks about Omkara Vichara, the analysis of Om. It says that by analyzing Om, you can arrive at what is the reality behind the universe. And of course, that reality is nothing but you. So what is the reality behind the universe? And what is the reality behind you? That can be arrived at by doing Omkara Vichara. In the second mantra, it's not Omkara Vichara. It is Atma Vichara, self-analysis. Right? Then you have to be careful because though the first mantra is Omkara Vichara, the second mantra is Atma Vichara, and you would expect, these are the introductory verses, right? You expect that when the expansion starts, it will follow the same order, but it doesn't. So from the third mantra to seventh mantra, the expansion is basically on the second part, mantra number 2, Atma Vichara. So literally speaking, Omkara Vichara, Atma Vichara, and then Atma Vichara comes into being in about 5 mantras, and the rest of the mantras is a expansion on Omkara Vichara. So this you remember that the expansion is detailed, but it's in reverse order. First mantra is Omkara Vichara, second mantra is Atma Vichara, but the third to seventh mantra is Atma Vichara elaborated. And 8th to 12th mantra is Omkara Vichara elaborated. So this you need to remember. Okay. Now look at the mantra. Idam Sarvam. This entire creation. Om iti etat aksharam is nothing but this sacred mantra Om. Okay. And we have seen in Taittiriya what did we show? Yes, Chanda Samrasha Amrisho Vishwarupaha Chandobhya Amritat Sambhavurvaha. We saw all that. What was it? It was 1.4.1, I think. So it says that Brahmaji extracted from the Vedas or churned the Vedas and extracted the essence of the Vedas, which is Pranava. Right? He says, from that churning of the Vedas, Brahmaji extracted Pranava, the Om mantra. And then, of course, the mantra was there, Omiti Brahma, Omiti Idam Sarvam. Right? So the mantra says that from that Omkara, which is the basic essence of the 4 Vedas, the entire creation itself is the essence of the entire creation. And since Omkara is nothing but the essence of the whole creation, if you want to know the creation, you need not study the creation. Because if you study Omkara, you are studying Srishti. And what type of Srishti? So he says Bhuvi Bhavat Bhavishyat iti Sarvam Omkara Eva. The entire past creation, the entire present Srishti, the entire future Srishti is nothing but Omkara. And not only that, Anyat Yat Trikala Atitam. Anything which is not covered by these 3 time frames, Kala Atitam. Tadapi Omkara Eva. That is also Omkara. Which means that when you are studying Omkara, you are studying whatever is bound by time and whatever is beyond time. So in short, whatever is bound by time is the transactional world, Vyavaharika Prapancha. Whatever is beyond time, beyond the bondage of time, is Paramarthika Prapancha. And as I said, what is that beyond time? You have Atma, you have Maya, and you have the mixture with Ishvara. Right? That is also Omkara. Therefore, the enquiry into Omkara, whenever you inquire into Omkara, you are inquiring into Anatma and Atma, which is why Sarvam. There is nothing beyond Anatma. There are only 2 things, Atma and Atma. And when you study that, you have studied Sarvam. And therefore, the study of Omkara is worthwhile doing. Then, Tasya Upavyakhyanam. Therefore, we are going to study, analyze Omkara. So, this idea is introduced in the first mantra. But as I said, the actual analysis is found in the 8th to the 12th mantra. And Shankara shows that Omkara reveals Brahman. How? He says, whenever you refer to an object using a word, right? That object which is being revealed by that word, there are technical names for the object and the word. You can of course use the normal one which you use. Pada is the word, padartha is the object. But here different words are used. The object is called abhidheya. Abhidheya. And the word which reveals the object is called abhidhanam. The, not the, abhidhanam. So, Omkara is the abhidhanam and Brahman is the abhideya. Okay. Omkara has got four components. A, U, A, I,
Silence.
and the silence. Right? So each of these is called a mantra. So Ukara is a matra. Ukara is a matra. Makara is a matra. And that which is silent, which is beyond this, after the silence, after the Om, is called a technical name. It's called a matra. So, not matra collector, okay, a matra. So, it's akara, ukara, makara, a matra. These are the four components. Omkara becomes four components. Similarly, Brahman, when we talk about Brahman appears in four aspects. What are they? No?
Virat,
Virat,
Hiranyagarbha, Antaryami,
Yami,
and the substratum.
and the
And the,
Brahman, and the substance of the three, the pure Brahman. That is called
yeah.
Turiam. Okay. Turiam literally means fourth, but it is not to be taken that it's said to be fourth because we are talking about three aspects: Virat, Hiranyagarbha, Antaryami, Turiam. So it's called the fourth. Turiam is the fourth. But Turiam in Shastram means Brahma, Brahman.
एक वो डाल देना कुकी से
Okay. Rita?
I will mute all again. Okay. Right. Now, if you look at the Omkara, U and Ma are the Vachyartha of the word Omkara. The literal meaning of the word Omkara is Ma. Similarly, if you look at Brahman, the Vachyartham is Virat, Hiranyagarbha, Antaryami. And therefore, when you draw equation, you're going to say that Amatra represents Virat, Umatra represents Hiranyagarbha. So Akara represents Virat, Ukara represents Hiranyagarbha, Makara represents Antaryami. Of course, you have to note that they are words or alphabets and therefore they are anityam. So when you say represent, it's not, you cannot say is equal to Virat or is equal to Hiranyagarbha or Ma is equal to Antaryami. You should not use the word equal. You cannot equate them. You can only say that they represent, they reveal. It's not an absolute equation, right? Because a lot of people write this equation as means Virat. It's not true. Is only revealing Virat. Because is finite, Virat is not. Similarly, is only revealing Hiranyagarbha. So this you must remember. The word can never equal the object. Right? What is the proof? If you have a headache, you have to go and buy crocin. The word crocin is not equal to the object crocin. How do you know? Because just by repeating crocin, 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 your headache doesn't go away. Right? You need the object. And therefore, you can only say that crocin is representative of the material, the tablet which you will buy, which is called crocin. Right. Now, Therefore, when you say Abhidhana Abhidheyam, Omkara Brahman, there is a particular relationship which we have seen before. It's called a Pratipadaka Pratipadya Sambandha. What does it mean? Revealer,
Revealer.
revealer, revealed Sambandha. They are not actually equal. Right? Omkara you cannot take as Brahman. Because when you take the Vachyartha, because you're taking the Vachyartha, in the Vachyartha, Omkara Vachyartha and Brahma Vachyartha are not equal. But Omkara, when you take Lakshyartha, Brahman, when you take Lakshyartha, you arrive at only one thing, Turiam. The Lakshyartha of Omkara is Turiam. The Lakshyartha of Brahman is Turiam, which is Amatra, right? Therefore, from the Lakshyartha point of view, Omkara can be said to equal to Brahman. From the Vachyartha point of view, Omkara is representative of Brahman. It reveals Brahman. How do you say that? Because in the fourth matra, the silence is called Amatra. That Amatra, what is the silence? The substratum of the silence? What pervades the silence?
Brahman.
Nirguna Chaitanyam, consciousness. Right? And therefore, Lakshyata Brahman is Nirguna Chaitanyam. There is no Sambandha here. Both have got Aikyam only. And therefore, Param Cha Brahma, this Nirguna Brahman, he says by taking Omkara as a tool for inquiry, you can come to Omkara, which is Abhidhana, Abhideya, Vilakshanam. Different from the Omkara, the revealer revealed different from both. And what is that? Param Brahma only. And he also says that the three frames of time, Bhutam, Bhavat, Vishyat iti. Also, three frames of time means whatever is limited by the three. Therefore, he adds Kalatraya Parichedyam. The three frames of time include whatever is limited by those three time frames. Tadapi Omkara eva. That is also Omkara. How? By applying the logic we have talked about. Every object is finally only a word. And therefore, whatever is beyond time, that is to say Maya, Brahmanishwara, and this existence in Maya is inferred from the product. That is also, and it is not limited by time. That too is Omkara only. Everything, the essence of the first mantra is what? Whether you are examining the universe, Anatma, or whether you are examining Paramatma, ultimately, if you take the Lakshyartham of all of them, of both of them, the Lakshyartham is the same, Nirguna Chaitanyam. And therefore, whether you study Srishti or whether you study Omkara, ultimately the Tatparyam of the study, what you will finally learn from the study is what? That everything is Nirguna Brahman. With this, we'll stop for the day. This is the first mantra. Any questions? Okay. Thank you for your patience. We will stop here. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnam
पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
That's it.
ॐ तत्सत्
Thank you for your patience. Om Om.
Thank you, Raviji.
Thank you.
Om Om.
Thank you.